Hi, my name is Don, and this is our solution product on inflation. Well, what is inflation? Well, inflation is actually the devaluation of the dollar, or the dollar being worth less. Well, why is that? Well, you see, in the economy, there's a certain amount of money, and if there's more being put in, the value of the dollar becomes less. But another problem with inflation is it also increases the price of goods like food, gas, and other house resources that you may need. Well, you see, a big problem with that as well is it makes the cost of living in the United States much higher. And we see that nowadays, and it's causing a lot of problems. One specifically, and quite majorly, is actually the call for higher minimum wages. Well, because of inflation and it being so high currently, the amount of money required to make a decent living or to be able to own what you want to own and continue to hold on to that has become higher. And some people with, say, a lower minimum wage are unable to make that money and therefore are calling for companies to give them a higher minimum wage. Well, it's kind of common knowledge now about inflation, but what can we do against it, and what are some of the things that can possibly prevent it? Well, one of the things that the government can do is they can place a ceiling on the cost of a product or an item, so it limits the amount that a product can hit. So, like cost-wise. So let's say you have eggs. If the government set a ceiling for the price of eggs, say $10, it can't go past $10. That's kind of one of the ideas that the government has that will limit the amount of inflation because people can only spend so much on a product or an item. And you see, this is one of the main ways that the government is able to sort of slow down inflation and allow it to decrease. The great thing about a ceiling is that it allows everything to cool down but nothing to heat up in a sort of sense. So it sort of limits the amount of inflation over a period of time, and then the government can then indeed, when it's deemed right, remove that barrier, but that is one of the main ways that the government sort of caps inflation.
Should that be all?
Hi, I'm Ryan. So two of the main solutions for increasing inflation currently is placing a ceiling cost on necessities that people may need, whether this is gas, electricity, or just foods in general, while also increasing interests on loans to get less people to take loans. First, by creating a ceiling cost on necessities, this allows for the inflation to not have too much of an impact on it, where it will go above the ceiling cost. Because of this, people will know that they will be able to budget their money and that it will not grow any worse once it gets to that ceiling point. This also allows for the inflation to only deflate from there because there's no higher up it could go. The other way that inflation is being solved is through increasing interest loans. So by increasing interest on loans, less people are taking loans. The less loans that are being taken is less money that is circulating throughout the economy. When there's more money circulating in the economy, this decreases the value of money. And when that is decreased, it will take more to pay for what you need in your daily life. So if there's less money going around, overall, the inflation will decrease and it will go back to normal. Our solution is that we are going to have the government budget people so that they have an amount of money that they could spend per month. This way, the money that is being circulated throughout the economy will not rise above that budget, therefore making inflation worse. By creating this budgeting too, will allow people to be able to understand how they really need to think about how they are spending their money so that it's not just money going all around.
So now you guys have heard our solution. Our solution is, to recap, to limit the amount of spending month by month a person can make. The reason this is such a good solution is because by limiting the amount of spending someone can have, it makes them more frugal, with their spending, and it also allows them to see what they're spending too much on and too little on. It's a great idea because of that, and people can become more aware of their spending habits and cut back actually. If you guys want to do some more research on your own, a great place to look is called the CPI, Consumer Price Index. As of October 13th, 8:30 a.m., the Consumer Price Index was released for this month. So I encourage you guys to go look at that. The Consumer Price Index details your month-by-month inflation, year-by-year inflation, and the cost of all your products and what people are paying for them.